When I was a kid, like most kids, I used to love watching TV. My parents were quite good at controlling it, but we would watch it on Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon was the day off in France, and Saturday evening, the movie. There was a big moment, and I was getting very excited. And there was only a few channels at the time. I remember in France was TF1, Antenne 2, FR3. There's kind of like three main channels, so not that you had many choices anyway. And then, little by little, I came to hate watching TV. I came to hate watching those main channels. And the main reason for this is there are so many advertisements. It just drives me mad. You're watching an hour and a half movie and it's going to take 3 hours. And every 2 minutes, you've got another ad. And it just kills it for me. Bonjour, this is Cyril from Work Smarter, Live Better. In this video, I want to share 3 simple advice to increase your focus and therefore your performance. The average person will be confronted between 4,000 and 10,000 ads per day. And we don't realize they're ads, but a lot of things is to drive our attention to take action and buy something or be interested into something in the future. There are two opposite forces. I'm going to talk about a ring, and you got on one side of the ring someone I will call Skinner, and the other side of the ring someone I will call Mihaly. So Skinner was a Harvard professor, and he found out that you can control the focus of an animal, and intentionally, you can really start controlling the focus of animals and human beings. He had this experiment with pigeon. And you put pigeon in a cage, you don't feed them, and you observe them. And you choose one behavior, and you say, every time I see, and a random behavior, but you choose one, and every time I see this behavior, I'm going to feed the pigeon a pellet. And so, little by little, the pigeons start learning that, well, every time I do this, I get fed, and you start controlling his focus and his attention with this kind of behavior. And Skinner was a big believer that we believe we have focus, we believe that we can direct our attention, but our attention is being completely directed by other forces and by all these ads and all those people trying to sell us things. On the other side of the ring, you have Csikszentmihalyi, and who created all the study about flow, about focus. Try to remember a time where you were so focused, so immersed into something that you completely lost track of time. This is the state that Mihaly called the flow, and it's a state of high performance. And so you've got this ring in your brain, and that's the way I see it, where you've got the Skinner on one side and the Mihaly on the other side, and they are fighting for your attention. One is trying to drive your attention away and focus your attention on many things that you don't want, and the other one is to say, no, you can take control. They're the two. That's the big fight in your brain. And so, for me, my way of managing that, I've got 3 simple advice in my mind on this one. I call them avoid, remove, and slow down. Avoid. I try to avoid a lot of those attention-seeking media. So, for example, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Instagram for a few years, but just to see what my kids are sharing when they're traveling. So, only a few people that I connect on Instagram. Very few. We're talking less than the 10 figures of my hand. So, I have another rule to avoid, which I call the 88, which means I don't connect to any social media from 8 o'clock in the evening to 8 o'clock in the morning. So I really try to avoid it. Remove. It's like when you want to lose weight, don't have chocolate bars around the house. So I've removed a lot of apps from my phone. It's a really simple thing. Look at the amount of apps that are trying to drive our attention. I remove a lot of apps. I remove a lot of notification, almost 99% of the notification I remove from my phone. And then slow down is I'm really trying during the day to create quality time in my diary and to move away from this speed mentality that we have and have I'm going to slow down for an hour. I'm going to think deep about one topic, and it's not about quantity, it's really about quality. And being 100% focused on one topic for, even if it's a half an hour, but giving it really creating. I think focus is a bit like a muscle. And are we practicing focus, or are we practicing being, our attention being drawn away? So this is week Work Smarter, Live Better tip. My question for you is, are you aware of those two opponents in your back of your brain? And what do you do to create deep focus to make sure that Cheese and Mihaly win the battle? You have a lovely day. À bientôt.